All right, good morning from Montreal, Canada. I'm here with the great Andrew Smart from Slator. And Andrew, it's so wonderful to be connecting with you here in Montreal. We don't often run into each other in person. I think the last time was at a LocWorld a couple of years ago. And I'm really excited to actually be able to grab you and pick your brain a little bit about what's going on in the localization industry as of late. Let's talk a little bit about the wave of technology changes and AI, the LangOps movement that's rippling through our industry. And I was going to ask you, how does the concept of LangOps differ in Asia South Pacific, in the Asia South Pacific region, compared to what it is here in the West?
Well, thank you, Stefan. It's great to see you. It's been a while since LocWorld, and it's always a pleasure to speak with you. You're always out and about, meeting with a lot of people, engaging online and LinkedIn. And to anyone out there, I would say LinkedIn is a fantastic platform to grow yourself professional visibility, to build your personal brand. And if you want to look for examples, look to people like Stefan. Now, for me, as a co-founder of Slator and working with AcudocX, I'm inspired by the way people use technology, even sometimes in its simplest senses, to improve people's lives and make things better, to solve problems. And so LangOps and the opportunity that it presents is tremendous, and the technology is changing so fast that it is incredibly difficult to keep up. Where would I would say it's different in perhaps Southeast Asia or Asia in general is, while it is being discussed, it's probably not as visible or as widely read as it's discussed in the US or in Europe. You do have conferences in India, in China, in major markets where it's very, very important, and they're grappling with many of the same issues that the rest of the world is facing, and actually sometimes coming up with truly innovative solutions. However, just by the fact that there's probably some Western bias in the English language, you're probably not getting the same amount of visibility on some of these discussions. They really do deserve a greater platform and greater visibility. And so for anyone looking for some interesting angles on how things might be being done differently, and not have so many deep surprises like DeepSeek coming out of nowhere, you might want to pay a little bit of attention to Asia.
Yeah. Do you think there's any unique challenges to the Asia South Pacific region within the localization industry? And what are some of the maybe regional trends that you can see in the localization space in Asia South Pacific?
Well, what are some of the challenges or the opportunities that they face? I would say that there is a fair amount of inter-ASEAN and inter-Asian trade. The Japanese, the Korean, the Chinese have been investing in Southeast Asia. The EU trades a lot with Southeast Asia. And the US, of course, also trades a lot with Southeast Asia. So within this current environment where trade has been thrown up in the air, the importance of inter-ASEAN trade has never been important. The Singapore Prime Minister recently spoke to Parliament and emphasized the importance that ASEAN countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and Singapore and Malaysia, they work closer together, they trade better. And that's going to be more language industry work around trade and investment, legal, shipping, all of these things. And it's going to be Asian to Asian languages. There's also a tremendous amount of investment coming in from India as well, and from China. You're seeing lots of investment in Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, etc. And so it's an interesting place to be. How LangOps is different? Well, I would say that you do get often within budgets in Southeast Asia, particularly, they're not as large as the US or perhaps Europe. They don't have the same amount of IT data center muscle power as the US and Europe, but they are in certain countries like Singapore are on the internet superhighways. They're very well connected, so they are in a position to be innovative for small and medium-sized companies, regional headquarters. And so what you might see is large multinationals rolling out their projects globally, but also it's probably worth watching to see where interesting things might be happening in markets like India, where they have a huge domestic population, many different national languages, and something like cricket, which most people don't normally think of as a highly popular sport. Broadcasting live cricket events in multiple languages and considering the thought of AI dubbing, for instance, that would be a good example of where can LangOps introduce and grapple with new AI technology, implement it into a workflow, get the content out to a greater audience, engage them, and that audience is truly global. The cricket industry, the cricket viewership is massive. So most people think football. I would tell you maybe take a page out of the cricket handbook.
So you probably won't believe me, but in Texas we have quite an upswing of cricket now, and there's terrains that are being built specifically for that sport. I never thought that was going to be possible. There's a lot of people that are from Indian descent that work in the tech industries and that are, looking to do the sports, even in Texas. Let's talk a little bit about the mergers and acquisitions that market is really heating up in Europe and the United States. How is the mergers and acquisitions market going in Asia?
There is interest amongst the players, but if you look at just the reporting, the historical reporting of M&A, it's again not as publicly announced. Very often, a lot of deals that do happen are not really discussed or talked about, and so therefore, the promotion of certain companies that may be on the market, they do happen. There are companies and players in Hong Kong and Singapore, companies in China that are looking to invest in Southeast Asia on the back of their clients. When you look at the Belt and Road Initiative out of China going internationally in terms of trade, Chinese LSPs looking all the way to Africa and looking at African languages would be, an interesting play for them. So I would say one of the interesting trends on the back of M&A is, and the back of international expansion is probably a lot more larger Chinese language service providers, going global.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so very much for spending a couple of minutes with us here, Andrew. We're coming live from
from Montreal, Canada.
From Montreal, Canada, at GALA. Thank you so very much for joining us.
I do want to just say this is my first time in Montreal. It's a beautiful city. I hope I have some time to see it fully, and the speech by the CEO of Cirque du Soleil, Daniel Amar, was truly inspirational and truly heartwarming to inspire creativity within the language industry. If GALA posts it on live, or if anybody is posting about it, look for the lessons that are shared from that.
Awesome. I enjoyed it very much too. As a creative at heart, it was right up my alley. So thank you for being with us this morning, and we'll see each other again soon, I hope.